Falling in love with Jesus, yeah. Fall in love with Jesus. No. Falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I ever done. Falling in love with Jesus, yeah. With Jesus, falling in love with Jesus, was the best thing I ever done. In His arms I feel protected. In His arms never disconnected. In His arms there's no place I'd rather be. Falling, falling in love with Jesus. Was the best thing I ever done. In His arms, in His arms, I feel, yeah. In His arms, I never disconnected, yeah. I feel there's no place be. I'd rather be.
Hello, hi, Sanbonani, Kamalam Gustabile Kamazubane, and this is World Gospel Impact Church. It is our youth talk show. We're sitting with young people. It is for young people, definitely by young people. If you are watching us on Instagram, can you watch us on Instagram? If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you like our page. Make sure that you subscribe to our page, as well as hit that notification bell. If you're watching us on Facebook, thank you so much, and make sure that you click like and share this video. I'm going to hand over to my panel, but before I do so, I just want us to introduce today's topic. We're talking about materialism. That's why my guests here today are here ngoba ba ama-TZs. Jokes aside. All right, guys, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. And as you introduce yourself, I'm also going to ask you to just give us one thing that you own that you think is materialistic. And I'm going to start on my left.
So much pressure. Hi, guys at home. I feel like the one thing that I have that might be seen as materialistic, my clothes.
All right. Your clothes, spare. Brother next to spare.
I think ukuphela kwento enginayo ekhombisa ukuthanda izinto ngaba amawashi. Yeah.
So you've got a collection of watches.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let me hear from the ladies on my side. Ladies, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone at home. My name is Ziningi Ndlovu. One thing that I can say that I have is materialistic is my hair. I think you know
Oh, so nama weave, girl.
Yeah.
I'm inches on inches.
my inches again.
All right. Speaking of inches,
Sanbonani Kamalam Nondumiso, and something that Nondumiso Ndamani, and something that I think I have and is materialistic would be my handbags, my expensive branded handbags.
ooh, no whatsoever, her expensive. Okay, we're talking about materialism, and someone at home is probably asking themselves, what is this concept of uktandizinto? And non do nama expensive designer handbags. Let's start with you. How would you define materialism?
Personally, I think it's uktanda isn't that are not needs, they're just wants. Things that you can live without is uktandizint. So if you have wigs, expensive inches, there's no need to have inches. You also peel up with your natural hair and look nice. So there's no need for that. I think uktandizint look.
All right. Ziningi, what do you think uktandizinto is?
Mina, I think uktandizinto is having something that you can afford. Because it's having something that you can afford.
But because you can afford, then you have it.
Yes, you have
Absolutely get you. Mtuns.
Sure, ukuthanda izinto. Mina ngokubuka kwami, it's just setting the price on things you want to have. So you just say price sets the limit or the standard. So ngeke ngize ngithenge, ngeke ngiqoke into engabizi ngaphansi kwemali engaka. Thanda izinto ke leyo nto leyo.
Like certain stores, ngeke ungene kuzona.
Uyazi.
Okay. Spare? Do you agree, disagree?
I agree. But my definition of materialism or uktandizinto would be living a life of a show off. Okay. So basically anything and everything that you do, you buy, you wear, you put on, when's the lookbook?
All right. Okay, so let me lean into this conversation that you guys just started or alluded to. If I'm making sense, it's things that we can do without, but we still want or still accumulate into our lives. Okay, so let's move on and then talk about how we as Christians, can we as Christians aspire to have materialistic things or to own izinto that are considered as materialistic? And I'm going to start with you, Spay. Should we aspire as abazalwane?
not necessarily aspire, but I wouldn't say, how can I put this? It's tricky, because there are certain things in life that you think you need, excuse me, but mostly buga, you actually realize these are things that you can live without. But to a certain degree, based on context, they are a need. Yes.
All right. Nondu, I'm going to throw it over to you. Should, as we, abazalwane, aspire for these designer bags, for example?
I'm sorry to say, but I feel like abazalwane are always taken as abantu kufanele bazothe, bangathanda izinto, babe averaged when it comes to not just fashion, aesthetics, you know?
Cars.
Exactly. Cars, houses, fanele zote, sibe nemize basic, sibe nemote basic, you know, just live a basic life. I just think that because right now everything is evolving and we're getting to see bigger and better things. I'm not saying finance cut or anything. I'm just saying that I think Uguti, it's okay to be, you know, at a better level in fashion or at a better level in whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we should aspire.
Okay, Zining, should we chase these things? Should we want these things as abazalwane?
I mean, yes, we should, because umzalwane ngayibanja into le umzalwane akusho ukuthi wena angeke uhambe ngemoto engaphezulu kwakho, angeke ukwazi ukugqoka iweave. Umzalwane akudetermine ukuthi wena mele uhambe ngeinwele, wena mele omunye mele ngabe ngeyena umzalwane oyengakholwa uhamba ngeweave. So akuhlukile sonke siyafana. So I think sonke sinayo ilotuze permission to be access lento le futhi it's right, akukho wrong.
All right, Mthunzi, I'm throwing it over to you. Should we?
Kwayisho lama 2K athi lelivangeli lalinganje engakaze phile kulona before. So ngingasho ngithi for relevance sake we can be, yabo, but at the same time futhi okay, yeah, it's quite tricky because khona umuntu ozothi we have to accommodate. For accommodation sake, it's for accommodate abantu ukuthi bangafeel left out uma befika ekerki. Then uzothi no, let's wear like this. At the same time futhi omunye athi hayi boss bakhohlwa njani laba abadala abangayizwa lento ukuthi kuzoqhamuka unondwisha ngeweave. You understand? So it's quite tricky. Sekuyana ngokuthi ikerki ngeyona iqobo iyaddressa njani leshandisi ngoba ekugcineni kumele sikwazi ukuthi wonke umuntu umefika ekerki accommodate ke grand shop. You understand? Kodwa futhi ngesikwazi ukuthi lokho esithi ivangeli lakudala ngangekho mina evangelini lakudala ngalihlonipha by the way angisho ukuthi lali irrelevant ngalesa sikhathi. And njengamanje there are things we need to move on to for the sake ukuthi sikwazi convey a message, sikwazi ukuthi nabantu ba understand ukuthi we are people and we are like them. You understand?
Absolutely. I think you make such a valid reason, such a valid point, more kuluma about that, especially because as abazalwane previously we were expected to lead this noble life. Yabona, strip ourselves and seemingly present ourselves as these humble people. Yabona, ngisho uhamba uzugobe. So, yabona kunomhlabeleli othi amagugu alelizwe ayosala emathuneni, which really sometimes pushes us to the point of thinking ukuthi we mustn't aspire for these things. So how is it possible ukuthi being prosperous but still maintain a life of nobility and a life of humility? Siwenza kanjani? How do we balance the two?
Humbleness.
Yes, Nondu.
Humbleness. I think being humble, knowing your background, because abantu abaningi, I'm not saying wonke umuntu uqala ezansi, khona abantu abazalelwe from rich families, but abantu abaningi bayazi ukuthi to get to the top tier, you need to work hard. You know, at some point you were at a low in your life, or mhlambe emuva ka ma or ka baba, whatever, baqale ezansi, wonke umuntu uqala ezansi in order to build for a better. So humbleness and remembering where you come from, I think, yeah, that's important.
All right, that's important. Ziningi, what do you think?
Mina ngithi nje inhlonipho. Ukuhlonipha ukuthi like ukuthi wena usula omunye emncane kunawo akusho ukuthi umthathe kancane. So ukuhlonipha nokuhlonipha abantu aba around wena. Ungathi ngoba nakho usuphezulu wena ucabanga ukuthi mina nje sengila angisamcabangeli umunye umuntu obekade la, ungamcabangi ukuthi ungabacabanga ukuthi sengibakhohliwe abasemuva kwami, sengiphambili nabaphambili. abasemuva sengikhohliwe ibona. So respect everyone around you, yeah, and respect life. Yeah.
Uhloniphe impilo.
Uhloniphe
Ingoma
impilo.
ithi thatha usemsamo limbeke emnyango. Gents, they're talking about humility, they're talking about respect. How do we strike this balance between having all these things but still like remaining noble and humble?
Kunesisho sesiZulu esithi umuntu ngabantu. So no matter how powerful of a person you are by status, you still need the people that are a bit lower than you, which is a point that they've been highlighting then. For a ladder to have a top step, you need to move from the very lowest, you go up, you go up, you go up, you go up. And then we pull each other up. We need to work on a strategy to pull each other up. Mase ngiphezulu angahlali phezulu phela bese kuba ngathi yimi ngedwa ohlala kulo mhlaba. We pull each other up. We work as a community. We need each other.
That reminds me of a quote which we rise by lifting others. Mthunzi, just very shortly now, how can we strike this balance between the two?
Ngiyawuthanda nomhlabelelo osanda ukukhotha manje wasijava ngoba ngempela ukhuluma iqiniso, but lento it's unfortunate ukuthi it has to do with character yomuntu, ukuthi mina umuntu ophakeme ngimperceive kanjani nomuntu ohumble ngimperceive kanjani, you understand? Ngathi ngiqala ukubona uNondu vele ngithi uphakeme, maybe makeup yakhe, appearance yakhe mhlawumbe ngi-intimidator, yabo uma ngimbona I'm like isha angene kulosisi. Then giving a chance ukumazi how yabo ukuhlonipha umuntu comes in different ways and different levels. At the same time kubalekile ukuthi umuntu mina kuba kwami ukwazisa umuntu, azisa umuntu wherever you are. Ngangena umuntu la esazi ukuthi profile yakhe ile phezulu, but you can only realize that masephuma stepping into his car, but it's okay ngobani ungena endaweni wazisa abantu azange azayithwale. So ngathi mina ukwazisa umuntu nje, period.
Right. This is World Gospel Impact Church. We're talking all things materialism. We're talking all things being materialistic. Let us know in the comment section, do you think we can strike this balance between remaining prosperous but in the same time remaining humble? Okay, I'm going to move this conversation forward, and I want us to just talk very briefly on this idea. Is the prosperity gospel overemphasized emasontweni? Are we preaching to people's prosperity too much or not enough? Ziningi, ngizoqala kuwena.
I'd say ivangeli manje nelaqala lisafana. Manje amanye amasontweni amaningi bafundisa ukuthi phumelela bo. Abasakulontuzi abasafundisi kakhulu ngokuthi uNkulunkulu ususaphi. Abasasifundisi kakhulu ngokuthi ubani uNkulunkulu ubani wena, but bakufundisa ukuthi iziphi izinto ezikwenza ukuthi ube lana, iziphi izinto ezibalekile empilweni nani. Abasasifundisi ngeBhayibheli kakhulu.
Sunzi, what are your thoughts? Ucabanga ukuthi it's too much, they should cut down?
Okay, somehow ngasho ngithi I feel ukuthi it's too much. Number one, mase sibuyele emqolweni kahle hle izinto esiyifisayo lezi zithi ukuthanda izinto, lezo zinto kumele zibe ngomthetho, ama-fruit okuthanda uNkulunkulu nokwazisa uNkulunkulu empilweni yakho, you understand, nokuhlonipha abazali ngoba iBhayibheli yakusho futhi lokho. So a lot of things I believe ukuthi we should be just emphasizing ama-principles ekumele siwalandele sihlale kuwo ukuze konke lokho esifuna ukusilandela. So lento yokustika kakhulu ibhlungu ngoba people tend to run away from it, doctrine. Mufike endaweni it's all about imali, you understand? Sengifuna u10 rand manje. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just voicing it out. Ukuthi uma stick to principles, uma ngikufundisa ukuthi ukuthanda umuntu unjani, asikho isidingo ukuthi kufundisa ukuthi ukuzonda umuntu unjani. Ngoba I'll stick to the good and positive side of impilo, and you'll know ukuthi whatever it is that is opposite akumele ukuthi uthinte.
Stha, I see you agreeing with him. Too much, too little?
Look, again, I feel like this is the second point that I'm making, and my opening statement it's tricky. It's tricky because number one, we are in an era of innovation, an era that moves forward. So nabafundisi, they're trying as much as they can for us to move with time, which is another point that has been discussed here. So to an extent, it is a bit too much because it pulls us away from the basics. it pulls us away from the fundamentals, and it brings us to impilo esheshayo. You need to be up to speed. I'm not saying it's wrong. What is into yabo flash yonke into la, but at the same time, khona abantu abasafuna ukuthi babuyele back to izinto zabo lezi abayijwayele. Yabo.
Okay, Nondu, I'm probably going to put you on the spot with this one. I feel like we're making a lot of emphasis on how it feels like it's too much. And maybe you can just shed some light from what you've seen, from what you've experienced, about how much we actually need a prosperous church in order for us to move the gospel forward.
Personally, I think progression in life and success and aspiring for better comes with success, and success is unending. It's not ukuthi khona umuntu more or sithi ayusegcinile success akasakwazi ukuba more successful than they are. Success is unending, and I think that we all need to understand ukuthi when you're successful and you've made enough money, it doesn't mean ukuthi now you have to buy less of izinto okwazi you afford, because you're trying to cover up for lelo gama lokuthi no kuthiwa hey unemali uyabo. I just think that we all need to understand ukuthi you stay in your lane, singazama ukuforce ukuthi because lo usenalokhu mina angikwazi ukuba nalokhu, now I need to try, and no, fanele understand lokhu ukuthi success is unending. Now you can still get to that phase or that level of life, and we also need to make reference to lokho emasontweni ukuthi masifika esontweni nje umthunzi kaDesh ukuthi masifika esontweni we need to understand ukuthi noma ngathiwa khona umuntu at a higher level akusho ukuthi I'm less of a person. I can still work towards getting to that level. So I think that we still need to promote Leonto, even enkolweni, because I mean success is unending. Yonke indawo.
All right, definitely. Guys, before I let you go, I know what this discussion has seemed like it's been so brief. We could still talk about so much. But before I let you go, we've seen it on so much social media. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag look at God. Hashtag my God is great. And it's always when people are posting their cars or they're posting their houses that we get to see these hashtags. So I want us to just differentiate between the two. Kukhona yini ukuthi, what's the difference rather between being materialistic and no, this person is just blessed? Ngizoqala ngawe Stha.
Tricky. It's tricky because for someone who doesn't have a filtered eye, it looks the same. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's all about energies. Everything that revolves around the earth has to do with energies. It can be over a picture, a text, meeting a person. It's all about energies. So it's all about the energy that the person conveys in whatever they post. I could get a car, and it could be a true testimony, which God is great, and I'm blessed. And I could get a car because materialism can be a life of show off. I can get a car to show off I can actually afford a car that's better than hers, and still use the hashtag blessed. So it's all in energies, and again, it's tricky for someone who has who doesn't have a filtered eye. It looks the same.
All right, Zining, I'm gonna come over to you. How do we differentiate between the two?
I think mina iqala la uNkulunkulu yonke into uyayihlela for umuntu. So whether lo wena umzalwane okholwayo kunomunye lo munye angakholwa kunawe kodwa uNkulunkulu eyihlelile ukuthi uzoba nayo le moto le. uNkulunkulu eyihlelile ukuthi uzoba la lo muntu lo, even though engakamtholi uNkulunkulu kodwa nje sonke uNkulunkulu esihlelile empilweni ukuthi ngalesikhathi lesi siyofika la.
All right. Nondu, all good and perfect things come from God?
Yes, personally, because I know all good and perfect things come from God. It's my personal belief that all good and perfect things come from God.
All right, Mtunzi, we're about to close off. Just differentiate between these two things. Hashtag blessed or just hashtag materialistic?
It's tricking a bell and because Oma City, uNkulunkulu shall give us in good measure, shaken, pressed down abundantly. I can have a lot in abundant. And when as Uspe said, it's all about the energies. Ngingaba nakho ngempela kube kuningi yabo nginakho vele kuningi yabo kodwa manje inkinga ukuthi nokubuka kanjani uthi ngiperceive kanjani. I think it comes from umuntu ongibukayo ukuthi ucabanga kanjani. So honestly speaking,
Tricky. All right, and that is how we close it off for today. Thank you so much to my guests for joining me. #tricky, #materialistic, #blessed. Whatever it is that you call it. This is World Gospel Impact Church. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that you like this video and you share it with all of your friends and family. Thank you so much.